Hey Melissa,
I
how are you?
I have some problems.
Uh-oh. What's your
So
problems?
Haley is supposed to close today.
Uh-huh.
She so there was mold in the crawl space, which is actually kind of more like a basement. Like you go into it's a split kind of a split level. You go into the lower level and then it just has a normal door and then there's like your crawl space.
Hmm.
So there's mold in the crawl space. The sellers signed the addendum. They agreed to remediate it. Then they had a company come out. They paid like $2,400. They came and remediated, and they didn't have them test again. So then we postponed closing so we could have someone come out and test. And then we got the results back Friday night, and there's still quite a bit of mold. So the levels only barely went down on the kind of mold we said to remediate. Plus, now there's an additional mold, I think, from them kicking things around.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've been trying to talk to all these people because we're not mold experts. So, Haley and I have been calling all these people. We called the lab this morning and they were total jerks. And Haley was crying and she's just feeling so stressed about closing on this house and still having this problem with mold. And I said, don't worry, like, we can postpone closing. Like, let's make sure that this is taken care of. We can have the mold company come back out. Um, but it's I feel and I've tried to get in touch with the mold company that came out to remediate, and they every time they transfer me to the project manager, the call just drops. So I'm just feeling overwhelmed and stressed about how to
Yes.
move forward and like how much can we postpone a closing date? Like, can this kind of be infinitely postponed until the mold is actually remediated because the sellers agreed to do that? Or can we close and still hold them accountable for doing that? I just have questions.
Yep. Yep. We could do either. With me, I like not closing. Um, and say we can't close and we need to extend this because you have not done your side of remedy the mold before closing. The other option is that you try to get the title company not to release any funds to sellers until they remedy all of this, which is just a little bit harder.
She's
But
fine to postpone. She's just kind of staying with family, so she's not like got a lease where she
yeah,
has to leave. So I think we'd rather just postpone to really get the fire under their butt.
yeah. Well, and so
But
I say you should just call the seller or the listing agent and say, hey, we got our test back to make sure that you remedied the mold and it's not remedied. It's still there. We still have issues and we need this fixed. We're going to send over an addendum to extend. How long do you need before you can get this remedied? And then whatever they need, plus your time to test it again, is what I would do. And so it might be 2 weeks right now, just with the holidays. Like, who knows what happens over Thanksgiving, but we might be looking at that sometime in that first week of December, depending on how quickly they can get someone out to remedy it and then how quickly you can get a test back.
can we make them pay for another test?
I'd put that in an addendum.
Because
Yeah.
we already spent 250 to test after they remediated and then it came back as still present. So I'm like, I don't really want to have to drop $500 for you to not do your job.
Just to prove that you're not doing it. Yeah, I'd put that like because it was not remedied correctly, seller to pay $250 to this testing company. Um, Buyer will order and coordinate tests, sellers will pay for it. Almost like the home inspection sounds like, or
Yeah.
the home warranty section. I would do it
Okay.
very similar to that. But I would talk to the agent and let them know, like, we can't close today because your sellers did not remedy this.
Okay.
Because they're going to
Oh,
try to fight. Like, if we go past the settlement deadline and the seller signs and the buyer did not, then technically the buyer defaults and the earnest money gets released to the sellers. Now, with us saying, no, you haven't remedied it, and so you actually defaulted, and you need to fix this so we can close, then I would say that there's an argument that the buyers get the earnest money back if this whole deal falls apart. And that's definitely something that Dean would be brought into if it doesn't work. So I would make sure you call the listing agent here this morning and say, it's not remedied. We have a problem. We're going to need to extend because your sellers did not get this remedied. Whether they actually hired a company or not, like we don't know,
they
but
did. So I
the
got the
company didn't do it.
invoice. Yeah. So I
And
talked
so,
to the listing agent on Friday night because I was trying to get in touch with the person who actually came and did this stuff. And
mhm.
they closed early, so I couldn't talk to them. But I told the listing agent, I was like, hey, like the inspection came back high. You know, some people say that those levels are fine, but we're just trying to double check everything, um, before we really move forward because there was still mold present.
Yeah.
So, oh, she's so
Yeah.
horrible too. Okay.
Even if you just give it another week, but just to coordinate all of this, but it sounds like the from what we saw, the mold remediation company did not do its job. And so the sellers need to get on with that company and figure out why. Like, why is there still mold when they were paid to remedy it already? And if there is some sort of an explanation that makes sense, like, oh, it dies over time, or this is the best we can do, then your buyers can decide if that's okay. But like you trying to chase down answers from a company, um, and the sellers not really taking any like ownership in it is probably not great.
Okay. Uh,
So yeah,
what do we do if the cause of the because the inspector initially thought, oh, because the HVAC line wasn't draining properly, like that's what was causing the mold. But like, what if there's something, like, what if a pipe is leaking or something? Like, what if there's another problem going on where they remediated it and then there's a different problem that's like still causing mold to be present? Like, how would, because like due diligence is passed. So, like, how do we like go
yeah.
about
Well,
that?
you guys negotiated that the mold be remedied, and if there is still mold, then it is not remedied. Like that. That's how I would see it. Definitely is. If it's like, oh no, we have this active leak and that's why there's still mold. Well, it's like, well, no, we wanted it remedied. We want it gone. And so if that pipe is the problem, then fix the pipe so it fixes the problem because that's what we asked to have no mold and we still have mold. That's like saying, hey, there's this one leaky pipe that we want you to fix so there's no water coming in this area. And you just say, we don't want water in this area. And they're like, well, we fixed the one leaky pipe that you knew about, but there's a second leaky pipe that's giving more water. And you didn't know about that, but we fixed the one for you. It's like, well, there's still water in the area.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, I'd call
Okay.
the listing agent and say, we need more time because this was not remedied and we need your seller to look into what went on, but we can't close with a moldy home when we both agreed that you would get this taken care of. Just because you hired someone, that does not mean they did a good job. If I hired someone to fix a deck for me and they did a bad job fixing the deck, then just an invoice saying, well, I paid someone to fix the deck isn't proof that the deck is fixed. And that's the
Right.
same thing. Like you might have hired a company to take care of this, but they did not. So seller, that's on you. You're not giving us the house in the condition that we expected it to be, which was free of this mold,
Okay.
or at least it remedied so it was down to a certain level or whatever's acceptable. Every time mold
So,
comes up, I feel like I learned so much about it.
oh yeah, I'm so sick of learning about mold. Okay, so I see that Brittany's not on this call. I want her help to do the addendum. Um,
Yeah, you give her a call and chat with her about
okay.
this because there might be a specific way. And we honestly, it might be we bring Dean into something like this to see how he would want it worded and best steps forward. Um, because they, it's like if you agree to fix something and then you go through your final walkthrough and it's not fixed, like it needs to be fixed. And so that's what we're doing this extension on. And so, yeah, call Brittany and say, we have this problem. There's still mold. We're probably going to need to extend the settlement so the sellers can figure this out. Can you help me with that? How much do we need to involve Dean?
Okay. Okay. And then should I talk to Brittany first or the seller's agent first?
Talk to Brittany, see if
Okay.
she has like a game plan, and then, yeah, and then you should probably call the listing agent and just be like, we have the mold. We're not getting answers. We need time to figure this out because this is not how the house was supposed to be. Like we still have this certain problem. So
Is this like, and the other thing Haley was asking, like, does this happen a lot? Like, we're on closing day, like, you're still having problems?
no, usually sometime between due diligence and closing, everything gets wrapped up. And
Right.
they're like, hey, we fixed everything. Like imagine if they would have actually fixed all of this. And so
Yeah.
then you didn't have mold. And they're like, here's our invoice showing that it was all done. And then you get a result back and it was done. And so you're like, cool, like this is great. This is exactly how it should go. But it's not usually like, oh, it's closing day and we need more time. This this is an added stress. So what you were feeling is real. Welcome to real estate.
I know she was like crying and I was trying to calm her down and like, don't worry, we can have more time. And
Yeah,
like,
we'll
oh
work it
boy,
all
this is
out because
hard.
we were very clear. We had an addendum saying that they would remedy the mold. And so it is not done. The sellers need to do it. Even like the worst case scenario, if we had to close for some weird reason, your buyers could sue the sellers and it would just be a small claims court. And they would go to the judge and be like, here's an addendum saying that they would remedy it. Here's the results saying that it wasn't remedied. Here's an invoice that they sent us saying that they paid someone to do it. It looks like they didn't do the work and we would like them to do it. And the judge would look at all of that and be like, yeah, they paid this person. This person did not do it because they still have this problem. Sellers fix the mold. Like that's kind of how it would go. But we don't want it
Yeah.
to get to that point because then that's extra hoops to jump through, going to court, suing the sellers, who knows what they try to do. And so if we can figure it all out now, that would be the best case scenario.
Okay. Okay. I'll call Brittany.
So call Brittany, see, get an addendum, something worked out, call that listing agent, uh, get all on the same page. Hopefully you can get it done here very quickly, like within a week or so. If not, say like we need this fixed, we need longer, but let's put deadlines on everything
Okay.
to make it happen. So, okay, good luck. Call me if you have more questions or problems.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep. Thanks. Have a great
Bye.
week, everyone.